Welcome into the Sunday Fast Break. Trent Meacham here joining us as he does every Sunday. And some Sundays just feel better than others, I think, for Illini fans. After beating 19th ranked Wisconsin emphatically on Saturday, I think the fan base has to feel real good right now about where this team is at.
Well, after a big win in Bloomington against the Hoosiers. So this was a great week for the Illini. I thought, winning two different ways. A very ugly game, hard-fought overtime on the road against Indiana. And then Saturday against Wisconsin, just a beautiful game. Ayo and Kofi were fantastic. So great win for this ball club.
We'll break down the sense of where this team is going. 4 straight wins now, tying a season high for the Illini. But you mentioned Ayo and Kofi there. Ayo making history, becoming only the 3rd player in program history to record a triple-double. We are witnessing something really special here. And I just hope people understand just how special he really is.
Special. Ayo and Kofi, this was Shaq and Kobe-like, today. And Ayo was, he was playing at his best, out in transition, finding his teammates. I thought one thing this season, he hasn't been as effective in the pick and roll finding his teammates. And against Wisconsin, he was fantastic, getting into the lane, finding across the court to three-point shooters. Obviously, Kofi for lob dunks. Ayo had his way, getting into the paint. He had a little bit more, as they say, sauce to his game, where he kind of just had his way with crossing over, stepping back, getting by the Wisconsin defenders. They had no answer for him. That was Ayo at his best, and it's fun to watch. And as Illini fans, you got to appreciate him while he's here because he's terrific.
I asked Bret Underwood after the game if his name would be in the rafters someday, and he said absolutely. He's playing at that type of level. What impressed you most, though? We've seen Ayo score. We've seen Ayo distribute. The rebounds, for me, maybe stand out just because he hasn't really done that consistently throughout his career.
Yeah, and he should be a good rebounder because of his length and his size. But I was impressed that he had a poor game against Indiana. Fouled out, disappointing. Watch his teammates kind of carry that game to the end. And so I expected him to have a good game. I wasn't expecting him to have a triple-double like supposedly he called out. But the things that most impresses me again is his playmaking. When he's able to find teammates, when he's able to get into the paint and make everyone else better, that's when this Illini team is really, really good because he's so difficult to stop. Teammates have to account for him so much, and Kofi Coburn. And when they're rolling, now it just opens up the court for everyone else.
It was Dunk City there, watching Kofi just take over and Ayo take over as well. And when they do that, I think they're really hard to beat. I mean, you can compare them and put them up there with, one of the top duos certainly in the country, and that elevates this team to a level where they should be able to compete for a Final Four.
What'd I say? Shaq and Kobe today.
Yeah.
Those two were they were pros playing against college kids. That's what they were today. I think the best thing that happened to Kofi Coburn, and he acknowledged this in the post-game press conference, is Trace Jackson Davis dunking on him that first half in Bloomington. Since then, he's had a different attitude attacking the rim. He had, I think, 8 dunks today. I mean, just a man amongst boys, and I love just that thought process, that attitude, the mentality of, I'm going to dunk everything. I mean, I never had that. Few players have his physical power and explosiveness, and is it fun to watch him roll into the basket, throwing that ball up there, say, hey, go get it, big fella.
Career dunks for Trent Meacham.
Oh, my wife always gives me a hard time because I think I had 1 as a pro, none as a college player, a couple in high school, but I'll take those few and say, hey, I did it at least once.
You never, just were you a little nervous you might miss it?
For me, it took everything in me to do it, and I'm trying to play tough defense, and the circumstances had to be just right for me to dunk it.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it. That's
layup lines, so I could throw some down.
Okay, all right, yeah. If you miss it, though, you're going to catch some heat from your coach and your
I got to get those 2 easy points. It's not quite as easy. It wasn't quite as easy for me.
All right, what specifically makes that pick and roll and what they do so electric and so tough to defend?
Well, you got 2 All-Americans. And what Illinois likes to do is get in Ayo going to his right where he's just deadly. And then you have Kofi Coburn rolling to the basket. So what are you going to do? It really puts the defense in a bind. If the big man guarding Kofi doesn't step out there on Ayo, then he's going to have his way getting to the basket. If he does step out, now you have Kofi rolling to the basket. Who's going to stop him? Either it's a weak side defender, and now Ayo can make that pass, or you leave him free, and you're throwing it up there for lob dunks. So when you have the 2 oftentimes best players on the floor, that's really difficult for the defense, puts them in a bind, and defenses that don't really jam them, get into them, force Ayo left, if they don't do that, it's going to be a long night for any defense.
And when they play with as much pace as I thought they did, it really controlled the tempo against a team like Wisconsin. That's their bread and butter. That's what they want to do, is control the tempo and muck it up and slow things down. I thought the Illini really imposed their will, so to speak, on their game plan and doing that against the Badgers.
Pace is key for this team. And it's not always shooting it fast, but it's playing with great momentum, great energy, moving the ball. And I thought against Iowa, they had great pace and controlled that. And then again, today against Wisconsin, Wisconsin gives up 62 points. Okay, Illinois averages 82 points a game. There's a 20-point difference. And I thought Illinois played with great pace, got in transition, but in the half court, getting ball movement, reversing sides of the court is key. That helps break the defense down. And then those driving lanes open up. Then those three-point shots are a little bit more open. So that's key, playing with great pace. And you also do that by rebounding the ball. Okay, Illinois dominated the boards today, 46-20, I believe. You do that, you get more possessions, you can get out on their fast break and push that pace a bit.
And this is against a team in Wisconsin that Illinois has struggled with mightily, the last decade plus. It's impressive to see. Where do you stack up Andre Curbelo after his great performance at Indiana? Really struggles, did not play after the turnovers there, essentially gave Wisconsin a 7-0 run, with some sloppy play. How does he kind of bounce back from this in the psyche of getting back on track?
Great question. Andre Curbelo, that's my guy, okay? I think he's fantastic. I love watching him play. He was the closer against Indiana. Okay, as good as Trent Frazier played, big shots, the coaches gave the ball to Andre Curbelo the end of regulation and then the end of overtime, and he made great plays. Now, the challenging thing is, especially for a young player, is to do that the next time out. I'm sure he was feeling pretty good about himself, a lot of pats on the back, a lot of tweets, all that stuff. Now can you come back? And today was Wisconsin, just a tough matchup for him. He wasn't very good today. But I expect this to be a growing process for him. I expect him to only continue to get better. I'm really, really high on Andre Curbelo. I love his creativity. I love his fearlessness, okay? And sometimes that's going to lead to some bad turnovers, but you have to live with that. And I think so far, Coach Underwood's done a really good job with bringing him along.
Yeah, Bret Underwood was not happy with Andre and did not play him again after that. And I don't know if that's necessarily unexpected, but I was at the game, and I have not seen Bret that upset with a player and full out screaming at him in the huddle and as he was coming to the bench. Now it's on him to bounce back, and I'm sure he'll get some love from Bret and his teammates moving forward here. Let's talk big picture as we go forward here, and already into February, and Illini aren't going to play here for at least the next 10 days as of right now. Brad said he thinks there will be a game added before Northwestern on the following Tuesday. Is this team peaking too early? Is that such a thing? Or I don't know. That's so weird, I know, for a lot of Illini Nation to say, because this team hasn't been very good overall. But, how do you feel about the momentum moving forward here and where this team is going in next steps?
The goal is to play your best in March, okay? And it's great to see this team playing really well here in early February. I think their ceiling is still higher, and that's the good thing. I don't think this team has reached its peak yet, and you want them to play well. All right, now the interesting thing is you have a long layoff, it sounds like. Previously, when that happened, this team responded very well, came out, had a very convincing win against Penn State. So now is the time for this team to get back to the drawing board, get healthy if there's any nagging injuries, get some more shots up, maybe add some little wrinkles into their system, their offense that they could potentially throw at teams coming down the stretch. So however it plays out, if they throw a game in there in the Big Ten schedule or they have a long layoff, they're going to have to use this time to get better, because that's the key. Okay, just continuing to improve. It's a long season. You're going to take your lumps, but if you're improving throughout, then you are playing your best basketball coming down the stretch.
And they're playing their best right now after wins against Iowa. You add Indiana in there on the road, always a tough place to play, and now a win against Wisconsin. Trent, thanks for your time. It's always fun breaking it down. We do it every week here on the Sunday Fast Break.